Welcome to a live stream from the view from the Ninian. We're back. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done a pod. We're here looking ahead to the weekend's games, talking about the Vertu Trophy, talking about Mansfield, doing all that good stuff, basically. But while we wait for people to file in, Ben Price, what was the top artist on your Spotify Wrapped or Apple Music Wrapped this year?
Spotify Wrapped, I'm not too sure, because me and my wife have decided to save cost, we'd share a Spotify account. And I'll be honest, she's ruined it for me. But I don't know who it was. I couldn't tell you, but the only one I know of mine that made it was, unsurprisingly, Sum 41.
What was top of the shared account?
Oh, I don't know. I honestly can't tell you.
Tom, top of your Spotify Wrapped?
Guess.
Oasis.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Super Furry Animals, number 1.
Number 5. See, I'm so obvious. It's great that you can get these.
Stereophonics.
Bang on. I am an open book.
So Welsh.
I'm such a stereotype. Yeah, I know. But my top song was in the best case scenario, We Die at the Same Time by My Name is Ian.
That's a great song.
It is a good song, but I think I under Spotify'd and over podcasts this year. So
what was your top
quite
podcast?
A boring list. I don't listen to them on Spotify. That's what skewed it. I've got Apple Podcasts. So yeah, I'm moving over because I am a sucker for these marketing campaigns.
Someone called Callum Scott is Fee's top played artist. I don't know who Callum Scott is. No, it's not him. Lovely man, listener, good guy,
friend of the pod,
but it's not him. Handsome chap, whoever he is. But
so is Callum Scott Howells.
Yeah. True.
My top artist on Spotify was a band called Contention. I also pay for Apple Music. My top artist on Apple Music was also a band called Contention. I racked up over 1,100 minutes of listening to Contention across 2 platforms. Anyone who likes straight edge metal from Tampa, Florida, with Italian sounding singers, his name's Cosmo Verdusi, you'll enjoy Contention. All their songs are 2 minutes long, so it explains quite a lot.
Are we going to discuss the fact that we've had 1.6, unlike the podcast Wrapped, 1.6 million minutes of listeners just on Spotify alone?
Because it's 1.2 million, Ben.
Oh, is it 1.2?
Yeah, get the facts right. 1.2 million minutes listened to on Spotify alone, which equates to 2 years of listening minutes, which is mental. 2 years. 2 years, Tom, of people listening to our voices. How does that make you feel?
A bit sick. Because sometimes when I speak to you, I forget that people are going to be listening the other side. Like there was a slight bit of panic. I forgot this was going to be live, so that was quite nice when that popped up in the corner. But no, thank you to everyone who has. But, it does blow my mind that people choose to listen to us.
Yeah, Ben, 2 years of listening to our silly opinions about Cardiff City is quite humbling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's wonderful, and we love you all for it, but. And I'm seeing people post the stories of how long they've listened to us on there, and it's blowing my mind that people actually put up with this. Fee does it because she's legally obliged to, because she's married to me. But the fact people are willing to do it is wild.
Well, my wife doesn't listen because she's legally obliged not to listen because we're married. And she hears this because I have a loud voice. She hears me doing this from upstairs and she gets annoyed by that. So that's why she doesn't listen. My friend Simon, he tweeted, he put it on his Instagram story that he'd listened to over 2,000 minutes of us talking. That's a friend of mine. Adam Tibbs as well, who I've met at games a few times. He was in our top 10%, I think, Ben, wasn't he, with around 2,000 minutes of listening?
Something like that, yeah.
Which is
I want to know who's got number one. I want to know, because they do say if you are the number one artist, I want to know who that, or if you're the number one fan, who that is.
If you are listening to us on Spotify and you are our number one, please get in touch. We will send you something to say thank you for being an absolute lunatic and listening to us. Nath CD, on YouTube has asked, good evening, gents. What advent calendar have you got this year? Ben, what's your advent calendar of choice this year?
It is a Malteser one that has on the 24th of December, has a Malteser bunny in, which I'm very excited for.
Oh, bunny at Christmas?
Is it a bunny? Are they bunnies or reindeers?
Come on, Ben, you've made 2 fundamental errors so far in this opening 5 minutes of this pod. Ship up or shape out, that's all I'm saying. Tom?
Well, we know which way it's going, don't we?
Yeah, you're staying. Tom, what's your advent calendar of choice this year? Do they have advent calendars in Australia, or is it something mental?
They do, but they were harder to find. But I've got a kick.
Have you got to open the pouches on kangaroos?
No. Thanks, though, for that. Yeah, good. No, Kit Kat
Kit
for me.
Kat. Kit
Yeah,
Kat.
Route 1.
All right. I'm going to show myself as the bougiest person here. Mine's a Hotel Chocolat one.
Twat.
Yeah.
Caramel chocolate as well. Each one is slightly caramelly. It's delicious.
The only way that's acceptable is when did you buy it?
About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's
Too early.
worse. If you had bought it
Too early.
today or like on the 1st of December, that was all that was left, I'd let it slide. But the fact you've gone 2 weeks out, I'm going to buy one from Hotel Chocolat. Yeah, too much in London there, mate. Too much. Like Tony's Chocolonely at best.
They're expensive, and heaven forbid a man should enjoy himself during Advent. God. If you are into our Advent, head on over to our TikTok, tiktok.com/VFTNinian. Well, I'm doing Advented every day or every other day this month. I can't remember how many parcels I actually have. I'm unwrapping something different that I bought or vinted at some point this year. Some of them, I can't remember what's in the parcels. So it's a surprise for me as it is for you. And I'm giving most of them away. There are some things I'm keeping. There is one thing I'm giving away to a friend, Reece Jenkins, friend of the pod, because I drunkenly bought it when we were together. So that's for him. He doesn't know that yet. He doesn't know what it is. So I'll be excited to see his face. TikTok.com/VFTNinian. Later on during this live stream, I'll be doing the live draw for one of the parcels I'm giving away, which is a lovely red Cardiff City Foundation jacket. A very good jacket from New Balance. I have one in a different color. Sam CCFC 27. Good evening, boys. Good evening. Are you Unai Emery? Let's start, Ben, with a roundup from the FSA Awards on Monday. Talking about bougie, we were in Nobu, weren't we?
It was very bougie. What a place. What an evening.
What a place.
What a
an
time.
Evening. What a time to be alive. Ben, do you want to talk them through how the evening went?
Yeah, started with just sat at a table with some lads that do a Manchester United fanzine, Maxon from the FAW, and our dear friends from Alternative Wales, and my wife, and Manon, Greg's wife. Had a lovely time, champagne drinks. We went to the bar. Fee managed to find a bloke with champagne, would I say, in 10 seconds of getting upstairs, which was impressive. And fun just carried on from there. Just a lovely, lovely evening.
I didn't get any champagne, which was a shame. We thought we were in for a good evening, didn't we, Ben, when we arrived, as we were placed on table number 27, which was a good omen, but we didn't win. We didn't win Best Club Podcast of the Year. That went to Pod on the Tyne. Here's my contention with the FSA Awards, Tom. Not any distinction between fan-owned media and professional media. So all the winners were like The Guardian or The Athletic. And there was us on table 27, hoping to win something. But we didn't, did we, Tom?
No, and I didn't quite have the bougie evening of you two there, because I found out by one of you just going, lost to a Newcastle pod. And that was it.
I think that was me.
I was like, cool.
That was me,
yeah. I was like, cool, thanks for the build-up. So I was just sat there with a cup of tea and work. I was like, okay, I'll crack on with my day then. While you boys send me voice notes and video notes and all sorts. But, it's just mad that we were there in the first place, really. That they let us in the building around those big actual media outlets. But I don't know, it's just, it's the most FOMO I've had since moving to Australia, which is quite annoying, not going to lie.
I think the awards are best summed up by they do like a Football Player of the Year award, and obviously the names that are nominated are big names. It's like Antoine Semenyo. I think Ruben Dias was nominated, and the winner was Declan Rice. And to kind of my surprise, Declan Rice was actually there. So in the same room as a Tom Phillips cardboard cutout was the actual Declan Rice. And Ben, Declan Rice wasn't there for long, was he? He came through the door as his award was announced. He picked up his award and he left immediately. But fair play to him, Ben. He didn't have to come there, did he?
No, because the last awards we went to, the Player of the Year award was won by Jamie Vardy and some bloke from Cornwall who just wanted to mention how he driven 6 hours to Liverpool, what picked up the award on his behalf. So the fact Declan Rice was there, gave a proper speech. It is mental that he put a suit on for it, but fair play to him. Looked fantastic. A couple of days before a game, went up there and really valued the award. Seemed genuinely to enjoy winning it. It was quite a nice little moment. I'm guessing he won because he was local, but he turned up, and that's the important thing. That's what we like.
Yeah, I can't remember who won it last year. I wasn't there, but I think the best part
I'm
about
going
the
to
night
guess
for us,
someone based in a London club.
yeah, probably more than likely. I think the best part of the night for us was that we were on a table with our friends from Alternative Wales. So it was a majority Welsh table. Maxine from the FAW, me and Ben, Ben's wifey, the Alternative Wales Collective, which took up another sort of 4 seats. And then the only 2 people who were on our table were Andy Mitten from United We Stand, a very famous and very good Man United podcast, fanzine, media house, whatever you want to call it. Next to him was one of his colleagues, and he had a personal line to one Will Puscott. And after he told us that he knew Will Fish, he knew Will Puscott, we told him that we started effectively. And I still find it a bit weird that we lay claim to it, but we did start this back in March. We did. I think we were the first people to mention Puscott in public, that we started his nickname Puscott. And he just immediately whipped out his phone and said, I'm going to text him that. And he texted him saying, I'm with the boys. And Will replied immediately saying, I'm never going to live that down. And Ben,
Good.
That's the real quiz, isn't it?
That was the real prize of the night, to be honest. That made it. It was very us, the fact that we somehow and even when it's English, it felt very Wales. The fact we managed to just go, we know this person, we know him too. We'll send him a text. It was very, very Welsh in that moment, which I loved. And he now knows we've ruined his life. Because I don't think he's too thrilled about the nickname. I'll be honest, judging by the WhatsApps. But am I going to stop? No, absolutely not. If anything, I'm going to double down.
Tom, how does it make you feel that we are that culturally relevant, that our little ramblings on this pod during a pretty weird part of the season, obviously it was after the Blackburn game last year when we weren't sure whether we were staying up, going down, that we have started something that is now tearing it up amongst the Cardiff City players?
We're massive. That's all we can say, really. We're global superstars. We're making an impact. This is the most self-indulgent start to a podcast ever. We've got about our own Spotify Wrapped, what advent calendars we've had, our award ceremony, and how a football player knows us. So fair play to us. Yeah,
let us indulge ourselves.
I'm starting to feel a bit uneasy now. But no, it is awesome that we've had that impact. Every time I see Puscott written anywhere, it does make me laugh.
Yeah, it makes me laugh too. Gareth Dunning says, bonus stream after tacos. What more does a man want? Indeed, Gareth. Indeed. Thanks for joining us. Sam CCFC27 says, when's Tom's next visit back to the CCS? Need that phenomenal luck. Promotion party, Tom? Is that what we're looking at?
I honestly go on Skyscanner every day for various excuses to come back, and I'm waiting. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this season plays out, but I'm sure there'll be an appearance before the end of the season.
That would be lovely. Right, let's take it back to Mansfield, Ben. Obviously, it's been a little while since we podded. We can move away from being self-indulgent and we can actually talk about some football. We beat Mansfield quite comfortably at home this past weekend, 3-0. It was, Ben, a completely routine win, wasn't it?
I think it was a bit more than that. I thought we were quite good. I've really enjoyed it. I thought it started in just a comfortable victory, which didn't absolutely batter them, but deserved the win. I think that's quite nice, really, considering they've been a bit edgy at times in some of these games. It was just nice to put a team to the sword quite comfortably and sort of come away going, I probably could have scored more.
Yeah, wow, Ben, if we're looking at the XG, our XG was 3.3 for this game and we hit 3. So we were pretty much on track for the XG. Tom, what do you think of that?
Well, it's more than 3.
Yes.
So we could have scored more.
We could have scored more. We could have scored 0.3.
We could have scored 0.3 more. Yeah.
Not sure if the scoreboard could do that, but we'll have to find out. But yeah, I think we're starting to see the benefit now of the tinkering, right? I think now we're getting into this run of fixtures. You can see that people are fitted into roles. We've got people dropping out of the squad, people getting injured, and then we're going into a game like this, and it's no problem at all because people know their roles. And it was a routine win. It was, Mansfield at home is exactly what you expect from Mansfield at home, right? And I think 5 weeks ago I would have been nervous going into that game, but the longer we're going into the season, the less nervous I'm getting about these type of fixtures. And yeah, it was a good performance from start to finish, and nothing too flashy. Just a real good, solid home performance. And it was at home where we were struggling a little bit a couple of months ago, and it was away we were getting the points. But that seems to have flipped in recent weeks. And, with the amount of home games we've got coming up, we could do with more Mansfields.
We could do with more Mansfields. And Ben, I guess when we dropped down into League One, we kind of thought we had enough quality to beat most teams in this division. We thought we were probably going to be runaway leaders a little bit. When you look at the squad we had, obviously there's a little bit of an adjustment period, but there was an expectation that we would start winning games like this. But that was the kind of performance that we were all expecting, right? Mansfield, pretty much a mid-table to lower half team in this division. Our quality really showed over them, didn't it?
We did look a better side, and the quality was there. But this isn't something I was like. I know you guys were a lot more confident than I was at the start of the season, but I'm being proven massively wrong because we're looking better each week, and the improvement in just the overall gameplay is just getting more and more obvious, and that's really encouraging. I think a lot of the time we've had new managers come in, we've looked good to a point, and then we've either stagnated or regressed. Each week under BBM, we're looking more and more disciplined. You can see a lot more what we're trying to achieve going forward, and the players look like they understand their roles a lot more, and that's huge. And that just shows what a quality coach we have there. And it's reassuring me that I think even a couple of weeks ago, I was still going, I still think the best playoffs. Suddenly I'm now thinking, automatic promotion is the aim here. This has to be the goal. This squad is good enough and capable of doing it. And if I'm starting to believe that, I think the players are more than going to be buying into it now and really sort of up for this. It is just now about squad management. And like you said, it is about the rotation and how that goes from BBM that's going to play a huge part in how successful this Christmas period is going to be.
Talking about rotation, Tom, obviously players that came back in, people like Ashford, Turnbull, Robinson came in, Lawler and Fish kind of reverted back to centre-half. But how satisfying for you was it to see some of those players who haven't performed as well in recent weeks, I'm talking particularly Ashford and Turnbull, put in pretty good performances? I think Ashford in particular was very tenacious, he was very strong, he chased things down, he kept going and kept going. And we kind of saw Ashford losing his way earlier in the season. That little rest has probably given him that impetus to come back in and do what he did on that game, didn't he?
Yeah, it's the type of performance you expect from Ashford, isn't it? Just a lot of energy, putting himself about. I'm going to get onto his goal later, but like putting real effort in, and it's still looking a little bit messy, but kind of getting there. It's kind of what Ashford does, right? He's not exactly like a clean-cut player, but you know what you're going to get from it in his bags of running, and he puts himself about, and he makes runs that other players don't. He drags players into positions that other players in our team don't do. And we're starting to see these kind of like, we have got depth, and we've always had depth in the squad. Yeah. That's what we're seeing. There's players that we've always had in that squad who are starting to come in now and go out the team and come back in and make an impact. And Turnbull's an odd one, right? I think we wanted him to come in and just set the kind of squad alight, really, and he hasn't really done that. But he's become a little bit more dependable this season. Like in the games where he's played in like the cup with the youngsters, he hasn't really stood out. But in the games in the league, then he doesn't really do a lot wrong. He does a lot, like a few decent passes. Like he's a tidy player.
He's a steady Eddie.
He's a steady Eddie, and that's not what I expected from him when he came in. But then we saw the kind of flashes of shooting from distance, nearly getting a goal, the things you wanted after, you've seen his highlights reel from Celtic. But, Steady Eddie's fine at the moment because we are a little bit better in terms of class across our squad than a Mansfield. So if he's steady, his steady should be better than a lot of other teams, kind of like 8 out of 10, right? So I think it was a great performance considering the fixture that we had. And it's just great to see these players coming in and him not needing bedding in anymore. I think we've done our bedding in. We've seen fixtures earlier in the season where we were bedding in and it's cost us. I'm hoping now when we've got this real run of games, a real congested fixture list, the chopping and changing shouldn't have too much of an effect on how we perform.
Ben, how desperate were you to see that Turnbull strike go in? I think the most impressive view of it is the camera angle from behind him, where you just see how much he cut across the ball and how much it moved. It's a fantastic save by the keeper because he matched a fantastic shot, didn't he?
Yeah, I think if that goes in, I think goal of the season's wrapped up. And we've had a few good ones, but it was just a wonderful shot from a player that I don't think Turnbull's clearly got more to give. He just doesn't seem like he wants to give it for us. And I think that's where a lot of people's frustration lies with it. Everything he does, or 90% of what he does, is get the ball, take a touch, look left, look right, turn around, pass it sideways. Cut inside, pass it sideways. There's very little bringing it forward and doing the stuff he's capable of, like with that shot. And that's where the frustration lies with me with Turnbull. But then you see, and especially when you see shots like that, and you go, this bloke is capable of scoring some absolute magic and pulling off some wicked, wonderful bits. He should be doing it more. But yeah, with that shot, if that goes in, it's goal of the season. But the keeper's got to be buzzing with that save because it moves, doesn't it? It absolutely swerves. It was windy. It was like a bit rainy. It wasn't the nicest of afternoons there. Yeah, it's a very good save from the keeper.
Yeah, it went left to right like the Labour Party, didn't it? Let's talk about the first goal, Tom Phillips. With Puskod with a header from a corner. I think it was Bagan who put the ball in. Lovely Joel Bagan with his lovely crosses. It's a good header by Puskod. He gets across the defender. He gets it through a crowd and kind of over his shoulder. But we talked about at times last season how we weren't great at scoring from set pieces. It's good that we're starting to see that again, doesn't it? Because that was something that was so important to us the season before, how we kind of outshot ourselves from set pieces. We've got the defenders who can do it, and it seems to be that it's coming back into our game, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah, I think it's slowly creeping in. I think, obviously, Puskod scored against Wrexham as well earlier in the season. We thought, right, this might be a bit of a run now. And I think we will get a run of those types of goals because I think, what's the technical term? We've got a few big lads in our squad, haven't we? Yeah, like between Fish, Saleh, like Lawler when he's playing as well. There's enough there to occupy defenders, right? We haven't just got like one big lad in the box anymore that we're going to be aiming for. There's a few there. And we're now starting to see that they've got a bit of prowess about them as well when they get in those positions. And we've seen how technically good we've been with the ball at our feet this season. So if we can add that dimension to our game as well, keep the opposition thinking, then we're going to cause problems. Because there's going to be games where it's not really working for us. We're not breaking down defenders. We're not breaking down defensive units. And we're going to rely on set pieces. So the more that people like Fish, like now he's having a bit of a run of games, pops up with those goals, then fantastic.
Talking about Joel Bagan with the cross, I think that was his first assist of the season, Ben, according to FOTMob, as I'm looking at it right now. But how many big chances has Joel Bagan created and how many chances overall has he created? Have a guess.
Big chances, I'm going to say 7.
Spot on. Bing, bang, bong.
Oh,
how many chances has he created overall?
19.
30. He is our biggest chance creator. It was something my friend Hugh Davis pointed out a few weeks ago, and FOTMob backs it up. He's created 30 chances overall, 7 big chances. His expected assists over the season is about 4. Stumbled over that one there, Tom. He's obviously, he's got 1 assist, but it feels like it's more. But I think the fact that his corners, as we've seen it, Ben, at the start of the season, I think a few of us are saying, why is Joel Bagan taking the corners? But his corners have got better over the season, haven't they? I think there was a chance in the game from Lawler as well, where Lawler got to the back post and headed it just wide, and that came from Bagan corner. We're starting to see his range, aren't we, from the corners?
Yeah, he's beaten the first man. I mean, that's all I asked for on a corner. It's because at the start of the season, we weren't doing that, and it was driving me mad. But yeah, his set piece has got very, very consistent as well. So, defenders then like Puskod are able to get into place and attack it. He's just Mr. Dependable, isn't he now? Like, in and out, he's had a lot of time in and out of the first team squad, going out on loan, sort of Manchester not fancying him, but he's really proven to be just one of the most dependable players in the squad. And you need that with certain players. And that's going to bode well for his whole career. Like, I know players like Lawler, Capaccio, Colwell are going to take all the headlines, but Joel Bagan makes every squad for me at the moment. Like, if we're looking at left back, they're coming in purely as cover because that left back position is his nailed down as long as he's fit for me.
I'd also say, when you look at him as a player going forward, he's brilliant. But he's second in tackles per 90 with 1.8 tackles. I don't know if he's up there. He's in the top 10 for interceptions per 90 minutes as well. So he's doing it at both ends of the pitch, Tom, isn't he? And I think it's as Ben says, there were seasons where it looked like he was on his way out, but now he's probably first name on the team sheet most weeks because he is the most consistent player we've got at the moment.
Yeah, I think it almost works against him that he's just a bit of an unassuming character. And and now that's working in our favor a little bit because if you asked any of most of our fans, like, name your creative outlets, I don't think his name would be mentioned. And that just shows the options we've got right across the team as well. But he's not flashy, but everything he does is good. Like, he doesn't have bad games. He's good. And at times we just need someone to be good. And like you said, he's defensively absolutely solid, but he busts a gut to get forward as well. And he's just low-key kind of snuck into being probably arguably our player of the season so far, because he just hasn't put a foot wrong, and he's just such a likable character as well. And I think you can tell he enjoys being out there. And when they interview him after the game as well, his answers are very measured, very assured. And I think that's ideal, is to have someone in the squad like that when we've had a lot of chopping and changing. Like, he's had 100 games now, which is mad, really.
Yeah.
But he's just become one of the most important players in our squad. And it was our squad, and now he's one of the most important players in our starting 11. Because, he just doesn't put a foot wrong week on week.
Jay Mill says, yes, boys. Yes, Jay. There's a couple of questions coming in about transfer window stuff. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Obviously, talking about Lawler and Capaccio. Let's talk about the Salek goal, Ben. Probably the pick of the bunch on the day itself. But Salek with a great finish, great header, puts it past the keeper. Brilliant. But it's all about the build-up play, isn't it? With Lawler and Capaccio just combining in such... It was a wonderful piece of play, wasn't it?
That's proper good football, isn't it? It's just lovely to watch. The ball by Lawler is stunning. The touch from Capaccio, who came on and just, again, changed the game. We didn't really talk about it last week with the triple sub, but 2 games in a row, BBM's made a triple sub at the right time, and it's completely changed the game and sort of swung it back in our favour. For a long time, we've had managers, mainly Maruza, who could make substitutions and turn a win into a defeat. BBM's very good at not just seeing games out, but making us better with the substitutions. And that's really, really impressive, because Capaccio was fucking everywhere. Just didn't stop running the whole time. And that ball is such a lovely ball for an attacker to just go and just lay into.
Yeah. Fun fact, who's got our most assists so far this season, Tom?
Capaccio.
He's got 6 assists, 3 more than our nearest player. And Tom, for a player who's 18, 19, coming into the squad, he's truly making that position his own, isn't he?
Yeah, comes in, scores on debut, and hasn't looked back since. I wish I was that good at just my job. Just going, impact. If anyone's listening,
at 4 o'clock, really just absolutely smashing it for an hour and go, fuck you.
Yeah, no fucking about. No, he's better than good, isn't he, Capaccio? He hasn't just come in and been good. He's absolutely set this league alight. Every time he plays, he's so exciting. Like Ben says, he's everywhere. And he's just quality. And he's just unfazed. I think that's the thing, right? These youngsters who are coming in are completely unfazed. They're not overawed by anything when they're coming in. They're just hitting the ground running. And fair play to BVM as well. There's been youngsters who come in and made the odd mistake, but it doesn't mean they're then cast aside. I think there's clearly room to kind of show what talents you've got there. Yes, we've got a system, but don't be afraid to try these things. If it goes wrong, then we're not going to just cast you aside. You're not going to be out of the squad and not seen again. And we've clearly just breathed in the perfect environment for these youngsters to come in. And Capaccio has absolutely thrived. We were already speaking about Lawler because we'd seen flashes last season, but Capaccio, he is some talent. If you're being dragged into the Wales squad and being played straight away, you're doing something right, because every game counts with Wales, right? You've got 8 in a campaign, and he's been thrown into these games. We've got a few special players on our hands at the moment, and Capaccio is definitely one of them. And it's one of those players. We're going to be having a conversation soon about how long we're going to see him in a Cardiff shirt, because there's going to be plenty of big teams sniffing around for him.
You can see why Bellamy was so desperate to go in for him, can't you, at Burnley?
Yeah.
You can see exactly what, and then it's not really a surprise then to see him go into the Wales squad and break through. I mean, the right back position is a position that's probably up for grabs. If he gets to the Championship, that right back position can be his if he can prove it there consistently at that level. Because I'm a big fan of Connor Roberts for Wales. I think I've enjoyed watching him play. There's something about him I really like, but he hasn't been at that level for a while and he's injury prone. So Capaccio could be the bloke that goes to the World Cup and starts as a right back and just goes all the way through, because Nico can play on the left, and that's probably our weakest spot at the moment is the left back position. So Nico Williams at left back, Capaccio at right back. It's a nice attacking full back situation, isn't it?
Capaccio is second in our goals and assists tally this season, behind Salek. Salek has got 8 goals and assists, 7 of those goals, 1 of them an assist. Capaccio has got 7 goals and assists, 6 of them assists, 1 of them goals. So they're kind of like mirror opposite in each other at the moment, which is quite, as you'd expect from a right back versus a striker. But it's fun, isn't it? And I think Capaccio just showed that, you know, he's got such technical ability, because you touched upon it then, but the pass for Salek's header is perfect. It's inch perfect. It's not too hard. It's not too soft. It's just the deftest of touches that lifted it over everyone and put it right on a plate for Salek. And I think having the ability to do that at such a young age and in such kind of, you know, a pressured circumstance when defenders are bearing down on you, the ball was passed forward from Lawler. It's just beautiful to watch. We will talk about, you know, there's loads of rumours about Lawler and Capaccio at the moment. They're doing the rounds today. We'll get to that a bit later on, but obviously we'll cover off the Mansfield game first. Graham MBE says, mentioned for Salek defended by a corner flag. He was everywhere. Tom, he was everywhere, but he did miss a bit of a sitter, didn't he? Well, a couple of sitters, but the one I'm thinking of is the press, and he ends up getting the ball from the goalkeeper. All he has to do is put it in the corner, but he manages to find the one space where the keeper dived to. That's the kind of Jekyll and Hyde a little bit of Salek, isn't it? He scores probably the harder chance when the ball's coming over from Capaccio and the keeper's herring down on him. He misses the easier chance. And it kind of summed up his day a little bit. I don't want to criticise him too much, but he probably could have had a hat-trick on Saturday, couldn't he?
And I think he will soon. I don't think we're seeing too many sitters missed from him at the moment. I feel like he's kind of eased into this season. Like, he's on 7 goals now after probably a fairly slow start. I think he's really kind of hitting his level now, and you could forgive him the odd mistake like that, because like in the comment, like, he does put himself about. He adds so much more than goals, right? He's a presence. He drags defenders away. He just occupies people, and he is always in the right place at the right time, though. He's a very, very intelligent football player.
He is.
Like, again, I was going to say he's not that classy to watch, but at times he is.
It's brilliant to watch at times,
Like, with the ball at his feet, he's very, very composed. He's got a lot of dimensions to his game. And I think come the end of the season, when, you know, we're needing goals or we're in the mix and stuff like that, I think he's the type of player kind of thrives under that pressure. I think he likes people like battering him about and things like that. He loves a bit of a challenge. And the more I watch of him, the more he's the Cardiff City player Cardiff City fans want. He's a big barreling striker, clearly loves it. There's that picture of him in front of the crowd after he scored and stuff as well. And it's like, he knows what he's doing. And we love that anyway. Like he's the exact type of player we've been crying out for when we've had such meek squads. Where we just wanted a bit of character, a bit of leadership. And we've suddenly got leaders across the pitch, no matter what their age are. And I think Salek kind of falls into that leadership category, and he's popping up with goals now as well. So, yeah, I think he's coming good at the right time, and quite a busy time for us.
He's the reason he stood out at the end of last season, wasn't it? It was that he was the player who was trying to do stuff when the rest of the squad was kind of shirking and shying away a little bit. And I think, you know, us fans are a pretty forgiving bunch. We always talked about with Mick McCarthy, like, just show us a little bit and we'll show it back. But Salek from day one has shown us a lot. I mean, the Swansea game was his first game, and he took 3 Swansea players by the scruff of the neck. And there's that great photo, isn't there, where he's got, like, I think it's Vopotnik and a couple of other players, and he's just holding them all off. And it's like, from that moment, he's a Cardiff player, but now he's proving it even more so in his actions and in the way he plays. So I think he is the perfect Cardiff striker. Let's round off the Mansfield game, Ben, by talking about Kian Ashford's scruffy goal. It was scruffy. It was a bit of a tapping in the end after maybe missing probably a good chance, but it was a goal that he deserved, wasn't it? Because on the day, as we touched on at the start, he put in a really tenacious performance.
Yeah, Ashford's a weird one. There was a bloke sat behind us that after he scored was like, he just never feels like he really puts his foot through balls enough. And I think that showed with the goal, with the shot just before the goal. You just feel like he's holding back a little. I'm not sure why. But I think a lot of it is, I think if there's any player that's a confidence player, it is Ashford. And hopefully this goal does him the world of good. Because you saw, like, last year, there was flashes of brilliance. There's like very, very, he's clearly a patchy winger. But when he's on form, he should be far too good for this league. And hopefully he's another youngster we're talking about in a couple of weeks. It's going, oh, he's class. He's absolutely brilliant. Because he's probably become the forgotten man out of that sort of gem, out of like the gem of all those sort of youth players that are coming through. He's probably not progressed as much as we'd like. Arguably played the most out of any of the players as well. It just feels like he's needed that moment to kick on. And yeah, the fact he managed to follow it with a tap in is nice, because probably should have scored first time there.
And Tom, is that another kind of tick in the BBM school of management that he took Ashford out of the squad when things were getting a little bit hairy for him? There was a lot of pressure on his shoulders, a lot of kind of murmurings from the crowd that maybe he wasn't good enough. And he's come back in at the first couple of opportunities and started playing well again. And it just shows maybe that, BBM is managing these players in the right way.
Yeah, it's good man management. And we've seen that from as soon as he's come in through the door. Because we know, like Ben said, patchy's the exact word for him, really. He shows like sublime bits of skill, but he's never convincing in front of the keeper. That is the most Ashford goal you'll see.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Lovely bit of play, gets a shot away, not quite as good as you hope it would be, but it somehow gets in the back of the net. We're all good. And I think that kind of sums Ashford's player. I think out of those youngsters, he's probably the one with a slightly lower ceiling. And that's not saying he's not a good player. I just don't think he's never going to play at the top level like some of these other players probably could. But that doesn't mean he's not going to be an asset for us, because he clearly is. And he's shown moments of magic. It was Southampton he scored a great goal against. And he just puts himself about. He's got those moments in him. But that's what BBM has done well, is we only relying on him for moments. I don't think he can be our talisman. Like, he's not that type of player for us. But he's a really, really useful player to have in our squad. And especially against, again, it sounds like I'm being a bit disparaging about Mansfield, but like against a team like Mansfield, when you're not playing, one of the like automatic promotion candidates, he's a great player to have, because that energy is probably enough combined with the quality we've got across that squad. So yeah, I thought it was a brilliant performance from him, and I'm probably doing him a little bit of a disservice, but I thought it was a decent performance from Ashford, because we've seen a few kind of ones where he's a little bit lost, but that certainly wasn't one of them.
He was. I think he's that. Go on, Ben. Go on.
I think he's had to earn his place back in the squad as well. Because you look at, I'm literally on FotMob now, and the Mansfield games. Please sponsor us, FotMob. Like, it's taken him 3 weeks to get back into that squad and get a bit of a. He's had a bit of a rest with it and stuff. So it's clear he's not sort of hit the heights. Even before that, like the Bolton, he played 25 minutes against Reading. He played 10 minutes, 67 against Burton. It's his first 90 in the league since the 8th of November, and only his second since like the end of September. So he's clearly earned his way back into BBM's thinking. So it's not a case of just taking him out for the sake of it. When you've come out of that squad, you've got to train well and be on par to earn your place back in that squad then, which is nice.
Yeah, and if you look at the stats from the game, he was the most foul player with 5 fouls. He won the most duels in the match with 10. So that shows the kind of levels of his performance as well, because as much as getting the goal, he's also relieving pressure with those fouls. Maybe he's winning fouls in good positions. And I think those are the kind of things that can't be overlooked sometimes in this division, where if you're under the cosh and a player's getting away, you can just slow the game down by winning a foul, by winning a duel, getting the ball back. And I think that shows that there's probably dimensions to his game that we weren't seeing before. And if we can get more of that kind of stuff from him, then I think he could be a real asset going into kind of a real dirty part of the season when the games are coming thick and fast. Let's talk about Reuben Colwill, Tom. Obviously, I think the last time we did a pod, it was after the Northampton game where the injury had happened. We didn't necessarily know the full extent of the injury. Now it looks like he's going to be out until the new year at least, probably until February. It's a shame, isn't it? Because it's the first time. Well, it's not the first time. He's played a lot of games for us, but this season it felt like it was the first time where he was living up to the hype and he was giving us the performances that we expected from him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think like how we look at him has kind of flipped, where he was seen as being kind of a luxury player that we couldn't quite fit in the squad, to being the player who was more likely to play when BBM was chopping and changing. So yeah, he's become a kind of he's been our go-to player, and he's kind of stepped up to the mark this season. At first, I was absolutely distraught about it. I was thinking, oh no, and then the more you look at the squad, you're like, actually, this is where BBM's kind of like touch has come into it. It's ideal, really, because we have chopped and changed. We've tried various formations. We're never stuck to one plan, and we've got the likes of I think we spoke about it last week. We're like, oh, the ideal replacement is probably Kellyman to come in to add that little bit of flavour. But actually, you've seen from performances having someone like Robinson in there, occupying defenders, making space, so people like Turnbull might start making those forward passes. We've got Chris Willock, who can play in there as well, who's probably the closest we've got to Colwill the more you think about it. I think you've seen that with a couple of his goals this season. We've got options now, and it's not as yeah, it's not as gutting as like at first thought, because I was like, oh, he's irreplaceable, but he's not. And this is the magic of the BBM system, right? Everyone knows their role. You come in, you hit the ground running, and that's exactly what he's done. So I went from being absolutely, I didn't want to look at the screen to see how far he was out for, to it's fine. I think we'll win games anyway.
Ben, who would, Tom's mentioned some of the options there. Who would you like to see in that place? I mean, Alex Robertson can kind of play in a slightly more advanced role compared to some of the other players. You've got Willock, you've got Kellyman. For me, it's probably Kellyman. I think Kellyman could probably fit the 10 role better than anyone, and then maybe alternate with Willock, come in and out of the team. There's different ways of rotating it. Is there anyone standout player for you that you want to see there?
We tried sort of I know we're going to come to it, but the Wimbledon game, it felt like we tried like a more fluid sort of three behind the striker. Well, it was quite a fluid four, to be honest, but I think that might be what we're looking to do. I don't think it'll be a one-person thing. And that sort of, again, the miracle of BBM stuff is he'll find the right person for the situation. Colwell was probably an easy pick because there aren't many teams, especially in League One, you're looking at going that you should get bossed out of. It happened at times this season, but more often than not, you're looking at going, he should be able to hold his own. But for me, if you're looking at one player consistently to sort of start in that 10, I'd like to see Kellyman.
Kellyman. Yeah, I'd like to see Kellyman get a game there as well. I think we're still in a phase of managing Kellyman's minutes because obviously he hasn't played that much. He's coming back from that injury. I think we've seen that over the last few weeks with him coming in and out of the team. So I'm hoping that over the next few weeks we can see a bit more of him because I think ultimately we're going into a very busy period. Obviously, we've got games coming thick and fast in December. We're starting with Huddersfield on Saturday. There's not going to be, as much as I can sit here and say I can see one player playing that role, there's going to be rotation because BBM likes rotation and we're going to need to manage minutes going into a very busy period. So I'm not too concerned about who it may be because I think we have enough quality across the midfield. Let's talk briefly about the January transfer window. We've had a couple of questions on this as ready. Graham MBE says, well, we've got Lawler until January by the looks of it. Tom, what do you make of the rumours surrounding Capaccio and Lawler at the moment? There's a whole host of clubs being mentioned as being linked to them. I think Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal have all been linked with a double swoop for our players. A double swoop not seen since the days of Gabadon and Collins going to West Ham. What do you think of these rumours, Tom? Do you think there's credibility to them? Are you worried?
I don't like them. I am worried. But it's inevitable. Like you can't be that age, that classy in that league, playing so well and not be noticed. And obviously the quirk of being Welsh as well means you get international football as well as soon as you can run a little bit at the moment because our squad's quite thin. And I don't know, like I know mentioned it a couple of times already, like the way that BBM has like switched things about. It wouldn't be like the end of our season if we lost players at this stage because we have got systems, people drop in. It's fine, but they are such quality players. We're only just seeing the start of it, and I'd love to see a little bit more of that development at us. I think the best case scenario is we don't lose them in January, and then that's quickly followed by we lose them in January, but they get loaned back to us to play for a bit because we're not.
And then we don't lose them in January; they lose them in the summer.
Yeah. But like, even if we got promoted to the championship straight away, these aren't players we're just going to move to a solid championship team. These are players are going to move to a Premiership outfit, a Premier League outfit. And we get money for it. I hope we get a good price for it. I think that's what we got to be looking at now because they are young talents who are going to kick on to better things. But yeah, I just want to keep holding until the end of the season to make sure we do get out of this league. But I don't know. It's good. It shows the kind of youth that we're bringing through now, and I don't think they'll be the last. I don't think this is a flash in the pan anymore because we've got a good youth development system, and it shows that it's working. I think if you're looking at the positives, but the negative is I'm just fucking gutted because I want to see more of them in a Cardiff shirt.
Ben, is the one thing in our favour that they're already playing for Wales? They're already in the Wales squad. There's always the question of, when you look at English players, for example, if they're a championship player that's on the verge of things, it's all about that international ambition. Is the benefit for them already being in a Wales squad that they don't necessarily need to move to scratch that itch? They're already in that setup and they could take Cardiff to the championship, maybe even further through the league. Do you think that plays into it, or is it just going to be a financial thing for them?
I think it's the thing that sits in our favour for us is their age. I don't think there are many squads or clubs in any division looking at players of that age and looking at the future going, we want them for January. Because I think if you look at someone like Laura Capaccio, if they go to the Premier League, they're not going to play much first team football in the sort of second half of the season, and that's not good for them. I'm not massively worried that we're going to lose them in January. I think we're far more likely to lose them in the summer when they can then go to a bigger club in the summer, sort of a top flight club in the summer, and train and get a full preseason under their belt then. That's more of my concern, is very early on in the summer window we lose them. And I feel like that's much more likely to happen. I could be completely wrong. It's been known to happen quite a lot on this pod. But my sort of gut feeling is I don't think we're going to lose anyone in January. I think the only concern I say that the only concern I've got is went to the club shop on Saturday with the point of looking who was February in the calendar, and it was Yusuf Salek. And that was a disappointing moment for me because the curse of the February striker seems to always be, and it'll just be very Cardiff City if we sell him and then the next month he's in the calendar. He's more likely in my head to go to like a championship club than say a Lawler or a Capaccio is to go to a Premier League club in January.
Big use, please don't leave. One question before I move on to the next bit. Dom says, where in the squad you strengthen in January window? Another left back is covered for Bagan for sure. Anyone else, Tom? Is there anywhere else you'd strengthen?
I think it's just depth across the board mainly. But then we don't really need that either. I think left back is the one problem area, right? Where we clearly don't have options. The rest of the squad, I think we just need bodies in to make sure that if we do have a run of injuries, that we've got enough to cover it. I think it's hard to pinpoint at the moment just because I'm fiercely loyal about anyone who plays for this team. And I'm like, I don't want them to be replaced by anyone. And it's pathetic, really. But I don't know. I don't know what you boys think, but we look all right at the moment. We don't really look that light on the ground. Like even keeper, like we've got options. I don't know what's happened to Alnick. He's not, but he's there somewhere, I think. So we've got options across the board. So I'm not too worried. I think it is just making sure we get a bit of. If we're adding people in, I think they've got to really actually add some quality. Because we've actually got a really good squad at the moment. We don't need to be upsetting it too much. It's got to be an opportunity that wouldn't ordinarily come about for us, and they're really adding something to that squad to make sure we get over the line.
Ben, anywhere else? Graham MBE says, wouldn't mind the Wimbledon striker. Is getting a good striker in to back up Salek. Obviously, we've still got Callum Robinson. Is that a good idea?
Not top of my list. I think we're fine with what we've got. I think any other League One club would be the Esper for either one of those, never mind the fact we've got two of them. For me, it's an absolutely stupidly fast winger. Like,
true.
Someone absolute pace merchant on the wing to complement Tanner, who sort of looks like he's going to be back soon. Just something a bit different. I feel like a lot of what we've got at the moment with the wingers, they're quite not samey, but they do very similar things, and no one is just that absolute pace merchant. So I'd love to get one of those in.
Yeah, Tanner will be like a new signing as well, as they say. He's been out for a little while. It'd be great to have him back. Before we move on to previewing the Huddersfield game and talking about the Vertu Trophy, I can talk about the Vertu Trophy now. Ben, do you care that we're out of it?
Couldn't give a shit. I went to Asda when it was 1-0 down. That sort of showed how much I cared.
Tom?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah, like... I don't know.
Quite a shock. The manner of the defeat was a bit of a shock to lose 5-1 at home to Wimbledon.
I think as soon as we conceded the first one, we weren't getting back in that game. I think it was pretty obvious by the team we put out. I think we needed to get our noses in front. So I didn't watch for too much longer after that point. But there's just part of me thinking, like, you watch football because you want to see your team win things, right? And if all things go to plan, we're not going to be in this again. So it was like, I wouldn't have minded a run. But saying that, out of all the cup tournaments that we're in, it's the one that matters the least. And for the league on top, obviously, that matters a hell of a lot more as well. But it's never nice seeing your team lose football games. And I don't know, it's only a few games away from being at Wembley. So a little bit gutted, but I think I get over it pretty sharpish.
Carabao coming up, obviously Chelsea in a couple of weeks, so we'll win that. We'll be in the semi-finals, no bother at all. Right, I'm going to do something a bit different now before we look at Huddersfield. On TikTok, as I said at the start of the show, tiktok.com/VFTNinian, I've been doing Advinted, opening stuff I've bought or Vinted. It's a surprise for me as much as it's a surprise for you. It's permeated through to Tom's wife's TikTok feed, so we're getting somewhere with this. The algorithm's working in our favour. The last video, I opened a Cardiff City, this is the jacket actually, Cardiff City Foundation jacket in from New Balance. Lovely bit of kit. See, Tom's got. You like it, don't you, Tom?
Oh, how do you win it? Is it too late?
Yeah, it's too late. Cardiff City
Okay.
Foundation on the last TikTok video. I've got all the names open on the screen next to me. And this is live, a random draw on the podcast, which is, we're breaking new ground here, boys. We're breaking new ground. So I'm going to do the draw live. To anyone who's
Technology,
watching.
eh?
Wheel of Names. Classic.
So wheel of names, they're all down the side. Everyone who left a comment, and I'm going to spin it now, and we're going to find the winner live on the pod. Who's it going to be? Oh, it's Barney Davis.
Barney Davis, what a name.
Woo. Right, Barney, if you're watching, you might not be watching. Who can say? I'll be in touch via TikTok to organise getting this out to you. I'll be giving more stuff away, tiktok.com/TheFTNinian. If you keep an eye on the feed over the next few days, there'll be more coming. Genuinely, I bought all these parcels over the last sort of 6 months. Some of them, I have no idea what's in there. I know what some of them are. I know I've got a brand new Premier League kit from 2018-19 with tags to give away. I've got a signed shirt, one that Ben's wearing, to give away. I think I've got a signed League Cup season shirt to give away. I know I've got a pair of green socks from the 2001-2002 season to give away. That's the one they all want. And a bunch of other stuff. So keep an eye on TikTok for more of that nonsense. Let's look ahead to Huddersfield, Ben. 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Huddersfield are in town. Pretty big game, would you say?
Yeah. I didn't realise, because they didn't really have the best of starts. But yeah,
They're picking it up a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah, as I say that, I'm looking at, there's quite a lot of red on their last 6. They've lost 3 out of the last 6 as well. So they seem a bit patchy looking at it. It's 8 wins, 7 defeats, but only 2 draws. Yeah, it's not going to be an easy one. They seem like a team that should be in and around the playoffs, if not sort of challenging for those promotion spots, like a fair few in this league. So a win on Saturday is so important with the teams breathing down the neck elsewhere.
Yeah, Tom, when you look at the table, obviously we're top level on games with Stevenage. We still have a game in hand, sometimes even 2 games in hand on teams below us. But Huddersfield, they spent quite a lot in the summer. They signed people like Alfie May. They've got Leo Castledine on loan from Chelsea, who I think I watched some of the Luton game. He put in quite a good performance. He looks like a tricky player. Huddersfield are one of the bigger teams in this division. They've obviously been in the Premier League like us. They came down within the last couple of seasons like us. We talk about the Mansfield game, but a 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday at home. These are the games where we are testing ourselves against, but we also against a better opposition. But we also need to be winning them, don't we?
100%. I think like the Mansfield one is a must-win in terms of we should be beating these teams. This one is we've got to be beating these teams if we want to be in the top 2. And Huddersfield, like they've got quite a good squad. They've got depth. And I think that's the thing that's going to work in their favour come the end of the season. And if you win this game as well, it puts more daylight between the top 2 and outside the playoffs. Because as soon as you fall back into that 3rd, 4th place, there's like hardly any points between us and like Burton towards the bottom of the league. It's so tight, right? Like in this quick run of fixtures, you lose 3 or 4 games on the trot and suddenly you bang smack in the middle of mid-table. And we're not away from some of that. Like, yes, we're top of the league. It's fantastic. It's good, like psychologically. But yeah, I think we can't afford to lose this game. I think we can't afford to have many games like we did against Bradford earlier in the season. Now we're hitting it because we're playing a lot of these teams that we would have highlighted before we got into the season as danger fixtures, and this is definitely one of them. And I'm a little bit nervous going into this one. I must admit, I'm confident, but like I'm not as confident as I have been in past weeks. There's something about Huddersfield that really kind of I get nervy about it. Like there's been plenty of times in the past where we should have been beating Huddersfield and we haven't, like in the Premier League and things like that as well. Like I don't know, like a bit of a hangover from that. But I don't know. Yeah, win this and we're looking pretty good because they're down in what 8th.
They're 8th.
A couple of points outside the playoffs. Suddenly win this game. And we shouldn't be as negative as I'm saying to avoid losing. We should be going to win this game because if we win this game, there's daylight between us and outside those playoff places. And suddenly we're sitting a lot better than we were a couple of weeks ago.
The interesting thing about Huddersfield is they are in 8th, but they're the 2nd top scorers in the league, level on goals scored with us. We are 28 goals. They are 28 goals. Ahead of us, Leyton Orient. Leyton Orient are 29 goals scored, 29 goals conceded, which is absolutely fantastic. Well done, Leyton Orient. But the interesting thing, Ben, about Huddersfield is they've conceded 10 more goals than us. So by that reckoning, it's going to be an absolute goal fest, isn't it?
You'd like to think so. I think they're playing quite open, expansive football, and you can see that in those figures. It feels like it could be quite an enjoyable game. Watch it be an absolute snore 0-0 fest now. But our sort of head-to-head with Huddersfield over the year, there's been quite a few games with a lot of goals. Like there's been quite a few 3-0s, 3-1s against them. So yeah, it all points like it should be quite a fun one, even if it is going to be a bit of a challenge. Because yeah, it's a good League One squad again, isn't it? You look at stuff like Will Alves is there. I forgot he'd gone there on loan.
Is Will Alves there? Oh, lovely Will Alves.
He's gone on loan there. A nice FIFA regen in Herbie Kane. So there's a few decent players there. They're a good squad. So you think we should want to win that at least, but yeah, it's not.
I'd hope we want to win the game, Ben.
Well, I don't want to, but we should be targeting.
Odd analysis that.
Yeah. I think the players would really like a win here.
Some might not. We've all listened to Under the Cosh. Some players.
I didn't realise they had Joe Lowe. They've got signed some good players this summer. Joe Lowe, Lyndon Gooch, Marcus Harness. That's some good players for League One. Tom, I thought we'd be on here for 45 minutes. We're coming up to an hour. Let's start wrapping this up. Tom, do you see BBM making his usual 5 changes for this game?
Yeah, of course I do. Don't know what they are. Of course I don't. But we've got to change it up at the moment, right? We've got another game then Tuesday with Stevenage, and we've got more.
It's a massive game, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm so glad I predicted that to finish 24th. But it's just he's going to make changes, right? And I think that's good for us as well. That the opposition don't know what we're going to do either. Like we've had it in the past where we're so one-dimensional, we know exactly what we're going to put out there, and we're far from that now. So yeah, there'll definitely be changes. And yeah, I'm excited to see what he puts out there because whatever we put out at the moment is decent quality.
Ben, who do you expect to fill that Colwill hole? Strange phrase. Carry on.
I think he might stick with Callum Robinson there. I think it works creating space and pulling people out, and then maybe looking at Kelly Munn coming off the bench and replacing him to go in the 10.
Tom, do you think Fisher Lawler carrying on at centre half?
Yeah, that's the one area I would actually like to see some consistency is our centre back partnership. I think we do look better with both of them in the team, especially Lawler. Like he's become absolutely solid. I think like a little bit of a ropey first game this season for us. I think it was the first game or second game. But apart from that, he hasn't really put a foot wrong. We just look a much better team.
Was it
yeah,
might
be.
Ropey.
Yeah.
I mean, go on. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah, I'm just going to repeat myself, but I will anyway to give me the opportunity. We look better with him in the squad, and I think like there's always a little bit of nervousness when it's the likes of Osho or Chambers. So I think the official combos are ideal. Go on.
It's unlikely to be Osho because Osho's dislocated his Toto, and he's off for a scan. That was announced by BBM today. I was trying to make Osho rhyme with toe, like Osho toe. He's dislocated his Osh toe. So it looks like he'll be out for the weekend, but I can't imagine Chambers will come back in because I think Fisher and Lawler were flawless last week, basically. So they could see it.
I think this every time, and then there's changes. True. So there's no point trying to predict it. Like I think NG did very, very well, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him start again. But at 11:15 on Saturday, which is weird. We've never really discussed that. They've made it a quarter of an hour earlier for no reason.
Hour and 50 minutes, yeah. Well, I think in the championship it was just consistently an hour, and I think now you have more flexibility, so they do it an hour and 15 from what I gather. But I haven't got a clue really.
It's really annoying because I keep on forgetting to do my sort of team predictions on FanHub because you can win prizes on that. And yeah, I think I've remembered to do it twice this season. Normally I remember with about 5 minutes, like 5 minutes before the hour comes. But yeah, keep forgetting. But yeah, so I expect to see Kapaka play there or NG. You just don't know with him, do you?
No, you don't. What I do know though is going to be an absolute goal fest at the CCS on Saturday as Cardiff take on Huddersfield in the battle for top spot. That was my influencer voice. 2 big games coming up. Obviously, we were doing a Thursday night stream because we've been away for a little while. Thank you to everyone who's joined. Got some really good numbers listening now. We'll put this out as an audio pod tomorrow. I don't know why I'm telling you that because you've already listened to it. Like and subscribe if you're watching on the old YouTube. TikTok.com/VFTNinian for all the content needs that you might have. Ben, predictions for Saturday. Give it now.
4-1 Cardiff.
Whoa, Tom.
4-2 I was going to say, so yeah.
I'm going to go 3-0. I think we're keeping a cleano somehow. Nathan Trott in goals. He's going to do it. I can feel it. Big game on Saturday. We'll be back after the game on Saturday, looking ahead to Stevenage. Even bigger game on Tuesday. It's a big week for the Bluebirds, and we'll be back on Sunday. See you then.